Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, September 1st, 2023. Welcome to another eBay video. Today I want to talk a little bit about promoted listings standard versus promoted listings advanced. I also want to touch on some of the topics that came up in last week's video. If I have time at the end, I would like to tell you a life story, a true life story. I haven't told you any of them in many, many months. So let's get started. I enjoyed reading all your comments on last week's video, and you may remember the main topic was the person who returned an item to me that he purchased, some alloy wheel center caps, and he lied just to get the free shipping back. And I told you guys and showed you guys that I took a deduction because I'm not playing with these scammers. And there was one person that wrote in a comment that actually was quite good, and he stated that eBay does not tell the scammer that they, meaning eBay, is paying for the shipping and that we have done nothing wrong. So the commenter correctly stated that the scammer thinks he got one over on Cute Joey, and that is the truth. I've been thinking about that a lot myself. eBay does not notify these people, even when it's black and white, that they misuse the return policy. So technically, as hard as it is to believe, these people are actually thinking, hey, I got away with it with Cute Joey. Now I can get away with it with so-and-so, because that's what they're led to believe. And it's sad, and I really hope eBay does look into this. There was a thread on one of the Facebook groups lately. A certain person, a good friend of mine, said, what would you do if you had 30 minutes to sit down with the CEO of eBay, Jamie Iannone, and talk to him one-on-one? And each person stated their ideas. And not to brag, but my idea was numero uno, number one. I said an ad hoc committee should be started in every category to vet these fake item not as described claims. I talked about this years ago. Nothing came of it. I'm talking about it again. The way it would work is very simple. If, let's say I'm the seller, I sell you an item, you get it, you claim it's not as described. You open a case, item not as described. I have the option as the seller to accept the item back. Maybe it got broken in shipment, maybe I sent the wrong item, and we proceed as usual. Or, if I feel I have a leg to stand on and you're misusing the policy, I would then send it out for binding arbitration. Now, the ad hoc groups would consist of top-rated sellers in each category that they're an expert in, whether it be collectibles, whether it be fashion, sneakers, eBay Motors, etc., etc. You would have to sign up, you would have to be approved by eBay, and you would work one-on-one with eBay executives in that category. So just to make it a little more clear, I'm eBay Motors. Let's say I signed up for it and eBay approved me to be a moderator, let's say. All right? I would make my decisions, and there would be an eBay member who could even look over our shoulder just to make sure they approve of what we're doing. And of course, if we, as moderators, overstep our boundaries, then we would get kicked off the moderating team and someone else would take our place. But I really don't see any top-rated seller abusing their privilege as a moderator, because we all want eBay to function fairly for sellers. And come on, guys. Will anybody argue the fact that eBay does slant in favor of the buyers over the sellers? Okay? Now, boy, I'd really love to sit down with him one-on-one and talk about that idea. But again, I guess it's just a pipe dream. Let's move on to talking now about promoted listings standard versus promoted listings advanced. Most of you guys are well acquainted with promoted listings standard. You have the option to bid a certain amount and hopefully get your item bumped up in search. The minimum used to be 1%, but a while back eBay changed it to 2%. For no real reason, they just want the extra money. And all right, it's understandable, I guess. If you're in their shoes, you can understand it. I understand there's an old saying, you have to spend money to make money. I also understand that it's the ways of the world that you have to kick money upstairs. It's the way it's done. All right? I get that. For the last few weeks, I've been experimenting with 4%. That's my bid price the last few weeks, 4%. I'm doing decently. However, I am slower than last year. And this is basically the slowest time for most eBay sellers because most people are on their last week of vacation and they won't really be coming back full time till next week when the schools open back up here on the East Coast and everything gets back to normal. So I'm hoping that business gets back to normal next week. To get back to promoted listings standard, I would say that it's been fairly successful for me. Most of you guys, I think, can honestly afford to bid 4% because you have expenses built in to the price of your item that you already have listed. And if you don't, well, then you better look back at your method of doing business because you need to leave yourself a very significant cushion for when things like this happen. All right? I have no problem bidding 4% if it's going to get my stuff exposed. I know some people who have not been bidding anything at all, and they're saying they're not selling anything and their items are not coming up in search. So I do heartily recommend promoted listing standard because you got to be in it to win it, okay? Now recently, eBay came up with something called promoted listings advanced. This is a lot more ponderous. And it's not so cut and dry. Basically what it is a pay-per-click program eBay has instituted. You get to bid a certain amount of money for certain keywords. And you're going up against people in your own category, whether it be sneakers, collectibles, eBay motors, music, whatever. And you're trying to get your stuff, once again, pushed up in search. And that part is okay, but the problem is pay-per-click. If someone clicks on your listing, you just lost money. You better damn well hope that guy buys your item. So if you bid, let's just say 50 cents per click, and that guy doesn't buy your item, you just lost 50 cents. If you bid $1, you just lost $1. Now, I've been wanting to talk about this program for a while, but I waited till today because during the week I had a one-on-one tutorial with a member of the eBay Promoted Listings Advanced team. We shared screenshots, we talked about the program, and he walked me through a dummy mock campaign. I'm going to give you my feelings on this now. And I'm going to preface my comments by saying, you guys know me, I'm a straight shooter. You may not agree with every single thing I say, but I am doing my best to get the information out there. I don't think I'm a stupid person. I think I'm fairly well educated. And I'm leading into telling you that it's not super easy to set up a campaign like it is with anything else on eBay. Markdown Manager is simple. Sending offers to watches is simple. Promoted listings standard is simple. But in my opinion, this is not simple. I swear to Christ, I tried to set up 8 different campaigns. Out of the 8 I tried to set up, I think I was successful with 2 or 3. It's very difficult. I find it tedious, and I find it unnecessarily difficult. Now, the reason why I was so gung-ho to try some campaigns out is eBay sent me an offer, a half-price sale, worth up to $100. Meaning, let's just say I decide to bid 50 cents on a slew of items, 50-cent bid. Instead of it costing me 50 cents each time someone clicks it, it would only cost me 25 cents. So I figured this would be a good time for me to try the program out and see what happens. But I'm finding it very difficult and not user-friendly. I'm wondering if any of you guys have tried out Promoted Listings Advanced. If you have, could you please tell us your thoughts? Do you find it tedious and difficult? Did you start your own campaigns, or did you try and use the default ones that eBay has picked out for you? I went through some of the keywords that eBay had picked out for my default campaigns, and some of them have absolutely nothing to do with the items that I'm selling. Now, it's true you can go and click certain keywords you don't want and get rid of them, but it's very time consuming. And I'm very unhappy. Very, very, very unhappy. Of the items that I did manage to get into a campaign, I've had some impressions, but I have not had a single click yet, which may be a good thing because it didn't cost me any money. Of course, to be fair, things don't happen overnight. I had the meeting on Tuesday with the eBay representative, so I think I started my first campaign on Wednesday. Then I tried again on Thursday, didn't do any better. So, I mean, it's possible that I need to be in the remedial class with the dunce hat on, and I need a teacher to come in and point, It is possible, but I don't think that's the case. But I'm just wondering if any of you guys have had any better luck. I would love to hear about it. Okay, immediate payment stories. Good news and bad news. Almost all the offers I received this week, the best offers, said I would be paid immediately. A few didn't. About an hour ago, I received an offer that said I'd be paid immediately, and I accepted the offer. I still have not been paid. Now, the reason why I'm so concerned, I had a good friend of mine who also sells on eBay Motors get dicked over twice this week. He accepted offers that told him he'd be paid immediately. The first offer took not 1 day, not 2 days, 3, 4 freaking days to get paid. That's immediate payment. And his second one took about between 12 and 24 hours. And that's concerning. I personally firmly believe that what's happening is people are registering either fake cards or cards with only a few dollars on it. Maybe $5. Then they're going ahead and they're sending out offers on $50 items when their card cannot ratify that. It cannot pay that kind of money. I wish there was some kind of checks and balances where the buyer would get an error message when they click send offer, where they would get an error message that would say, we're sorry, you must first fund your credit card before you make this offer, because there is a problem. I'm looking you in the freaking face and I'm telling you there is a problem. I think it's easily solved, but then again, I think my other situation was easily solved with the ad hoc committee that I told you earlier in the video. One weird thing happened that I found kind of a nuisance. I purchased an item yesterday on eBay. And by the way, real quick story. I needed a new digital camera. I've always bought my digital cameras in Best Buys. For those of you guys who shop at Best Buys, don't go. Don't go. It's like you're walking into a morgue. They have horrible inventory. They have maybe 3 or 4 digital cameras starting at $450. All right? Look, this is the kind I've always used, a cheap $100 camera. It works fine, but the problem is this thing's about 7 years old and I've dropped it so many times that the lens has gotten all scratched. So I needed a new one. So anyway, Best Buys didn't work. I said, let me check eBay and Amazon. I checked Amazon first to see what they had. I'll be the first to admit I am not an expert with Amazon, but for some reason I was trying to filter out what I wanted. Even though I was clicking new, it was giving me all these used cameras or refurbished cameras that are being sold by third-party sellers. I don't want that. I was so disgusted with that scumbag site that I said, let me do what I should have done first and go to eBay. I found a seller who had one, reasonable price. The only thing that I'll admit made me nervous was he had 0 feedback. But we all started with a 0. I said, I'm not going to hold this against the guy. And his estimated shipping date was 1 day next week, which, okay, I get it. So I purchased the item yesterday. Do you know today I have gotten not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 nag messages from eBay. Not from the seller, no, from eBay, telling me the item is going to arrive sooner than expected. 4 times within a span of maybe 5 hours. That's overkill. I'm sorry. No reason for that. That's never happened to me before. This is the first time it's ever happened, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, I will report back next time I'm on the air and let you know how it worked out with the camera. I don't have it yet, but I'll be getting it earlier than expected. Sales this week were slower than usual, and that's to be expected. This is the Labor Day weekend. We are starting the Labor Day weekend, and unbelievably, guess what the forecast is for my area, the whole New York City area? Sunny and cool. All right? No humidity, no rain. Even the weather forecasters were shocked that in these 4 days, not a mention of rain. And we're coming off one of the cloudiest, rainiest summers in recent memory. It was a horrible summer, but I must be honest, it wasn't hot, it wasn't sweltering, it just wasn't nice. So yeah, that's basically it. Returns 2 this week. 2 people filed for returns, and neither one has yet gotten off their duff to return the item. And the other thing was cancellations. You won't believe it. I think I either had 1 or none, much less than usual. So that's a good thing. I see we're approaching the 20-minute mark. I'm going to give you guys a choice right now. But you got to answer quickly because I'm hurting for time tonight. Where's my phone? Let me tell you what time it is right now. Look at this. 6:12, all right? 6:12 p.m. Should I cut the video off now so I can have it ready for 7 o'clock p.m.? Or should I tell you an interesting life story? Really? You want to hear the life story? Okay, I'll give it to you. I only thought about this the other day, and it's really crazy. As you know, I always sold hubcaps even as a kid, as a teen. It's always what I did. I worked in a junkyard. I mean, anything to hustle, I always was there. So when I was a teenager and I was working in the junkyard, it was not unusual for people to call up and order hubcaps from me. But they would say something like, well, your hours are 9 to 5 and I can't come in. Could you deliver them to me? And if they were local, I would do it, as long as I had a driver's license, which I got when I was 17. So I got my driver's license and I was able to do some local deliveries. So one day a lady calls me up, a middle-aged lady, and she wants to buy 4 wire spoke hubcaps for her Pontiac. I had a really nice set, okay? I quoted her on the phone $100 and she agreed to it. Bring them to the office, she said, and she told me where her office was located. So I went to her office, and it was a small building. It only had maybe 3 or 4 people in the office. To be honest with you, I don't remember what commodity they were involved with, if anything, and I wouldn't say it now on the air for reasons that will be clear very shortly. So I go in, and I see the middle-aged lady sitting at her desk. She appeared to be a secretary type person. I said, hello, Mrs. Smith. I got the hubcaps. Okay. She gets up. She's looking at them. She's happy. From out of nowhere, this guy comes walking over. He's well dressed. He's got slacks, a dress shirt, a jacket. He may or may not have had a tie. I don't recall. But he was very well dressed. But he was just wrong. Something about him was wrong. How much are these hubcaps? How much are you charging for these? How much are you asking? He's insinuating himself in a situation he has no business being in. So I said, I quoted this lady $100. No, she's not going to pay you $100. I'm looking at the guy. I look at the woman, and she puts her head down, and she walks over to her desk. She goes to her desk, and she busies herself with a typewriter, and she won't even look at me. I'm thinking, what is going on here? What did I walk into? And I can tell this guy's got an attitude and a half, and he's used to getting his own way. And the way he's looking at me and the things he's saying, I said, I think I know what the situation is here, and it ain't good. Can any of you ascertain what I'm getting at? I said, I think I know what I got here. So he was trying to bully me into selling them for $65. And I had an agreement with the lady of $100. And a deal is a deal. And I'm not going to be bullied. So I would not deal with this guy. He definitely didn't like me. And I thought it was prudent. Hey, hey, hey! There goes the sale. And look what it is. This is live on the Crazy New York Driver Show. This is the sale from an hour ago that I told you was immediate payment and I hadn't been paid. All right, it took an hour. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, back to the story. Anyway, I decided to leave, and I did. Thought nothing of it. Until about 6 months or a year later, I happened to be reading the newspaper, and it said, let me think, how could I possibly phrase this? Let me take a drink of coffee here. Mob associate found murdered in office building. And the story went like John Smith, 38, was found dead in his office this morning at 9 a.m. Apparently, he had been murdered over the weekend and laid there the whole time because the office was closed for the weekend. John Smith is a known associate of the family and was known to police before this incident. I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy. Isn't that kind of a crazy story? But that really did happen to me. And I want you to know something. I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Please comment below. Rock on and peace.